Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as I show you how to overwinter your mums. So let's go. Mums are a staple in almost every garden during the late summer into the early fall months. I love mums. And did you know mums can be a perennial? Whenever I tell people that, they are surprised. They had no idea that you can actually have a mum as a perennial. So I wanted to make a video to show you a few things that have worked for me and explain a few things that might work for you in your growing zone as well. The first thing to know is there are a couple of different kinds of mums out there. So when you're shopping for mums, what you're looking for on the tag is for the tag to say either garden mum or Belgium mum or hardy mum. And sometimes the tag might even say the hardiness zone for that particular mum, which would help you out a lot. Many times the mums that you buy from a grocery store in the florist section, those are not mums that are perennial. However, you just want to check the tag just to be sure. But oftentimes the mums that you buy from a garden center tend to be the perennial type of mums that you're looking for. Mums are usually hardy between a zone 5 and a zone 9. The key is knowing when to plant the mums in your landscape. I live in New Hampshire, zone 5B, and I know that when it comes to planting mums here in my zone, for them to survive the winters, I need to get them in the ground as early as possible. Optimally, I would be planting them in the springtime. That way, they have plenty of time for the roots to establish themselves. But the tricky part is garden centers are usually not selling mums in the springtime. So you can order mums on the internet, and there are websites that sell hardy mums. So you should just look for those if you want to get your hands on mums in the springtime. A second option is to ask a garden center. They might be able to order them for you and get them to you for the spring. And then an option that has worked for me is to buy my mums in the fall time, overwinter them somewhere where they're protected, which for me would be in my garage. My garage stays between 40 and 50 degrees during the winter months. And then come spring, I would then plant those mums out in my landscape. You want to be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also click the notification bell. I'm planning on making a playlist specifically for chrysanthemums or mums because there's actually quite a bit involved. It's not as easy as just buy it, keep it for a season, throw it away, and then keep buying it. You can definitely do that, but why not overwinter it? But there are lots of things involved with that process. Fertilization, cutting them back so that you have a nice bushy plant, how to overwinter them. And in my playlist, I plan on covering that throughout the growing season. Okay, so I have some mums here, and it is early November. You can see there are not a lot of blossoms on there. In fact, yesterday I went through and I started deadheading my mums. You definitely want to do that if you want to keep your mums looking nice and clean and healthy. And I have to admit, I was not good about deadheading them, so I gave them all a nice haircut, and I saw there are a bunch of buds on there. So why not keep them blooming from now until it gets super cold here in New Hampshire? You can see this one here is a very pretty yellow color mum, and this one here is a red color mum with a yellow center. And my plan for them is to keep them well watered. I do not want them to dry out because that happens often with potted mums. And also I want to keep them out in the sunlight as long as possible. I want them to keep putting energy into building a nice strong root system in these pots. But on the super cold nights, I bring them in. I bring them into my garage or into my barn where they're not going to freeze. And I'll keep doing this for the next few weeks. But as soon as those nighttime temperatures are freezing every single night, at that point, these mums will go into my garage in the pots that they're in, and I'll be overwintering them in the garage with a bunch of other plants that I'm overwintering. The goal is to keep them alive. I don't want to keep them saturated. I don't want them too wet. I also don't want them drying out. So I'll be checking them during the winter months about once a month. And if they feel like they're getting too dry, I'll give them a small drink of water. They don't need sunlight. They also don't need to be in pure darkness. They just need to be kept in a dormant stage where they're basically sleeping for the winter, but you don't want them to dry out either. And then come spring, I'll show you my process for planting these out in my landscape. On the screen, what you're looking at right now are some mums that I've successfully overwintered in my landscape. This purple one came from my previous home, and it's just beautiful. I plan on dividing and moving that around. The springtime is the best time for me to be doing that. Also, you're looking at a yellow colored mum, and this one came from my mother-in-law's house. I dug it up in the spring or summertime, I can't recall, put it in my landscape, and it looked beautiful in the fall time. Now, in certain zones, including my zone, if you get your mum in the early fall, late summer, early fall, you absolutely can plant that mum in your landscape. But you want to do it as soon as the mums start showing up in your garden centers. You want to get them right out in your landscape, and you want to mulch them really well with a thick layer of bark mulch or leaves or straw with something to protect the base. And when it comes to the mums that you're planting in your landscape, those ones, let's say, that you bought in the fall time, you want to make sure that you're not cutting them way back in the winter months because you want the top growth to protect the base of the plant. So I would leave the top part of the plant looking like dead sticks throughout the winter. And then come spring, although it might be late spring, so be patient. Come late spring, when the growth starts appearing from the base, at that time you can go ahead and cut your mums back. And the spring is also a great time to then start dividing your mums and moving them around your landscape. Now, with these particular mums, what I plan on doing is just cutting off the dead blossoms at the top, but I will not cut them way back either. They will be fine. I would rather leave the sticks there, and they will stay like that in my garage during the winter months. I've seen different things on the internet. Some people say cut them way back. Some people say leave the sticks there. What's worked for me is leaving the full part of the plant there. Again, you can cut back the blossoms, but otherwise leaving the full part of the plant, the parts that are sticks, leaving them on there until springtime. I just think it's a good insulation. It helps the plant, it protects the plant. And this is an overwintering video, so I will not be going into a lot of detail about when to cut it back in the summertime, about the fertilization, or any of those details. I would rather make separate videos for those, but I wanted to give you just a little bit of information about what I'm doing for overwintering my mums. I hope this information was helpful for you. Give it a try. I just think it is so worth it. Mums can be kind of expensive, and a lot of us like mums in the fall time, so why not try to overwinter them? And then by all means, you can always dig some up from your landscape and put them in pots, because a lot of people do like mums in pots. So you can definitely do that. Overwinter them in your landscape, dig them up and put them in a nice decorative pot. And you still have plenty more in your own landscape. I'd love to hear from you. Please put a comment below. Do you have mums that you've overwintered in your garden? What color are they? And what zone do you live in? And finally, have you tried a different process for overwintering your mums that I haven't mentioned in this video? Definitely share that, because I think knowledge is power, and it's very helpful for us to share our knowledge with others that are trying to do the same process. Until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.